It was a cold February evening in 1993 when 2-year-old James Bulger walked hand in hand with his mother inside a crowded shopping center in Merseyside, England. The air buzzed with conversation, the shuffle of footsteps blending into the background. Denise Bulger let go of her son's tiny hand for just a moment to pay for her groceries. But when she looked down again, he was gone. Meanwhile, two 10-year-old boys, Robert Thompson and John Venables, wandered through the shopping center. They weren't looking for toys or sweets. They were hunting for something far more sinister. CCTV footage would later reveal them scanning the crowds, whispering, plotting. Then, at exactly 3:42 p.m., their search ended. They had found their target. A tiny, trusting hand slipped into theirs. James Bulger was led away. Dozens of strangers passed by, unaware of the nightmare unfolding before them. James didn't resist. He was just a child, believing the lies whispered to him. And so, he walked willingly into the unknown. As they crossed busy streets, James began to cry. He wanted his mother. But each time a concerned bystander questioned them, the boys had an answer ready. "He's our brother," they said. "He's lost. We're taking him to the police." And with each step, the world around them watched but did nothing. Then they reached the canal. Without warning, one of them grabbed James and dropped him onto the hard, cold pavement. His small body hit the ground with a sickening thud. He cried out. They laughed. The icy water of the canal shimmered beside them. They joked about throwing him in, watching him disappear beneath the surface. But this wasn't the place. Not yet. So they walked on. 2 miles. 38 people saw them. Some hesitated. Some questioned. No one intervened. At last, they reached the railway tracks. Isolated, silent, hidden from the world. The city bustled in the distance, unaware of the horror about to unfold. A splash of blue paint, thrown directly into James's eyes. He screamed, but his cries were drowned out by laughter. Kicks followed. Then bricks. Then stones. His tiny hands tried to shield himself, but they were too weak. His body trembled as pain overtook him. He was just a baby, unable to comprehend the nightmare he was living. And then, the final blow, a railway bar, smashing down onto his fragile skull. His tiny body went still. Even in death, they weren't done. They positioned his body on the railway tracks, placing debris around him to make it look like an accident. And then, without a single glance back, they walked away. 2 days later, 4 boys searching for footballs stumbled upon something they would never forget. A child's body, lifeless, broken. The truth was too much to bear. The world recoiled in horror. News of the crime spread like wildfire. And one question echoed through every home, every street, every mind. How could 2 children commit such an unspeakable crime? The investigation moved swiftly. When detectives examined James Bulger's body, they made a disturbing discovery. His shoes, socks, trousers, and underpants were missing. Had they done something even more monstrous? The pathologist's report suggested they might have. But when questioned, Thompson and Venables fell silent. They fidgeted. They avoided eye contact. They refused to answer. And yet, their silence spoke louder than words. The hunt for James's killers gripped the nation. CCTV footage of the abduction played on every television screen, showing 2 shadowy figures leading a helpless child to his fate. Then, the crucial breakthrough, a woman recognized one of the boys. She had seen him playing truant that day. His name was John Venables. And he wasn't alone. The police moved quickly. Knocks on doors. Questions asked. And when they reached the homes of Thompson and Venables, the evidence was chilling. Blue paint, splattered on their clothes, the same paint found on James. Blood on their shoes. And then, the undeniable proof, a pattern of bruising on James's cheek that matched the sole of Thompson's shoe. The handcuffs clicked shut around their tiny wrists. Neither boy cried. Neither begged for mercy. They only stared, as if they had always known this moment was coming. On February 20th, 1993, Robert Thompson and John Venables were officially charged with the murder of James Bulger. 2 days later, they stood in court, their small figures dwarfed by the weight of their crime. The world now knew their names. But for the longest time, they were simply called Child A and Child B. The trial was inevitable. The punishment was clear. The world demanded justice. And yet, one question still haunted the hearts of millions. How could two children be capable of such evil? And more terrifyingly, could it happen again?